morning, everyone, and welcome to Wake Up Legendary. I'm your host today, Joanne, the Director of Marketing and Live Training here at Legendary Marketer. And we're kicking off another week of amazing guests. Dave is safe. His family is safe. But he is dealing with some flood damage and cleanup and all of that from the hurricane last week. So hopefully he will be back soon. But until that point, I have the extreme pleasure of getting to chat with members of our community, sharing their wins, sharing the roadblocks they went through, the challenges, the path, their journey, their story, all the good, bad, the ugly, and the amazing that happens when you become an entrepreneur. That makes it all freaking worth it, right? And there is no better way to wake up than to wake up legendary, people. So let's just dive right on in, and please help me welcome Ashley to the show. Good morning, Ashley.
Good morning. How are you today?
I am doing well. Woke up great, ready to run with the week. I got my list of all the things I want to get handled this week, and I'm fired up.
Good. It's Monday. You still got a few more days till the weekend again, right?
I think when you get to a certain point where it just, whether it's a weekday, a weekend, it just doesn't matter. It's all the same because it's all good.
Yeah. I'm grateful that I woke up today, right? Because tomorrow's never promised.
Exactly. So, Ashley, please share with us your backstory. What were you doing? What were you looking for? Were you looking to do anything online? And how you found us?
So I had like the computer skills of like a middle school student. And not like a middle school student today, like a middle school student like 20 years ago.
I'm like, middle schoolers are pretty legit at this point.
No, not the ones from today. Like my 5-year-old probably used the iPad better than I did. So I was in the medical field since I was 15. So it's almost 20 years I was working for them. And whether it was primary care or like some type of subspecialty. And I started to have kids, So like after my first son, I kind of saw how difficult it was and how like the corporate kind of businesses weren't really tailored for parents. It was just really difficult, but we made it work through my first. After my second son was born, it was impossible between like daycare expenses. So my fiance and I had the long conversation of, does it even pay for me to go back to work? Because when we looked at the numbers for 2 kids and full-time daycare was pretty much what I was bringing home. So like it just didn't. So we made the decision as a family that I would become a stay-at-home mom. So I did, but when you go from a 2-income family to a 1, things started to get a little difficult. So it was like I had to figure something else out. So I kind of started like putzing around on the internet, like what can I do as a stay-at-home mom? Because like like the job that I had before, I was the head of compliance and quality. So I oversaw all 26 to 30 offices that we had. By the time I left, I was in administration. And so like I can kind of figure things out. Like I was kind of thrown into that position with not much experience. I came from like just managing an office. So I'm like, if I could do that, like I could do anything. So like I tried to like see what I could find, and it was really difficult. I thought it would be a lot easier than it was. And I remember when COVID hit, I was like, I'm not downloading TikTok. Like I like all my friends were like, oh,
COVID literally was the poster child for TikTok.
I was like, I'm not doing it. Like, I'm just going to get sucked into this rabbit hole. And after I left the medical practice, I was like, let me see what it's about. And I remember I kept seeing this one, or there was like 2 or 3 women that kept coming up in my feed. And they were talking about like working from home and not having any experience, and learning all these new skills that they were able to utilize and start their own business.
Mhm.
And I was like, I remember saying to my fiance, I was like, if they could do it, I could do it, right? Like it can't be that hard. And
Mhm.
I remember that phrase, it can't be that hard. And I remember I was like, I'm gonna try the 15-day challenge. I'm just gonna try
Mhm.
it. I'm gonna see how it goes. And like I remember on like day 2, I fell in love with it. And I was like, okay, it's gonna be some work. It can't be that hard. And I kept saying that to myself. It can't be that hard. And I did the 15-day challenge, and on day 5 I met with the business advisor, and he was really
Mhm.
cool, very down to earth, super informative. And like I had already decided like I'm gonna do this. And I had no idea what I was doing. Not a clue. Like not at all. Um and But I was super excited. I knew it was gonna be
Yeah.
a challenge. I knew everything was gonna be new because like
Mhm.
on top of everything, I was so camera shy. I was like, I'm gonna make
Mm.
videos of myself. How am I gonna do that? Like I don't even do that for like family and friends. It's mostly of like the kids, that I put up on social media. So I was like, I'm gonna dive in. Like I was like desperate enough that it's not that I didn't want to go back to work in an office. Like I really just I had at that time I had a 3 and a 1-year old. So like they
Right?
weren't in school yet, and daycare was just way too expensive. So I was like, I need
Mhm.
something that's flexible that I can do from home. um so I jumped right into it. I took it a little slow the first month, just really making sure, like, because I did upgrade and I went to the blueprints. So it
Mhm.
was a lot of information to take in. um
Yeah.
so like
Which isn't a bad thing.
no, it's not. I was like,
It's always
yeah.
what's nice is you have it to go through at your own pace,
Yeah.
and you as you need it, you know it's there,
Yeah.
which
Yep.
is cool.
Yep. And it was. And like I remember I did the decade in a day, and I
Mhm.
took so many notes because I was like, I have no, like, the whole setting up my funnels and integrating everything. I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing. And my fiance is like, I can kind of help. And he was so supportive, and he still is, which it makes all the difference. But it was like trying to actually like do it on my own. And I remember having my screen split. So like I
Mhm.
would have the decade in the day on one side, and then on the other side I had like my click fun, and like I'm trying to put everything together. And I
Perfect.
remember when I did it and it worked, and I was like, I did it. Like I was so excited. And it was a big accomplishment for me because I wasn't
Yeah.
super tech savvy, so like that was like the first big accomplishment. And
Mhm.
but there were like a lot of, it's been very much like a roller coaster,
Mhm.
which is beautiful in itself. It's a journey. Like it's not necessarily going to go straight up all the time, you know.
Right. And
um
that's with anything.
yes. Yes.
I mean, that's the real I know people talk themselves out of going online and
Yep.
starting something online because they're like, "Oh, I heard somebody say it's not easy.
Yeah.
I heard somebody say I'm gonna experience a challenge somewhere." I'm like, "Dude, you're gonna experience a challenge anywhere you're at."
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Yep. And that's like where it's not that straight line, and that's okay, like, and that's something
Mhm.
that I think I just learned in life, is that, when it's up and down, like that's how you know you're alive. Like that, because it's
Yeah.
just life, not everything's rainbows and lollipops. Like there's going to be
Mhm.
hard times, and you're going to fail, and it's going to be hard. But are you going to try and follow your dreams and do what you want to do, or are you just going to settle? And it was hard, and I remember seeing some of the videos, like, you know, there's always like the people who are promoting it, and then the other people are like, don't do this because of A, B, and C. And it's like, don't let somebody else's experience mess up your own, you know, like actually have the experience for yourself. And I think that was something that I was like, because like, so when I first started posting the content, I actually looked back at some of my content and I was like, oh God, I put that up.
A typical response.
Yeah.
And let me just add this in. I'm going to slide this in as you tell your story. Anybody out there that is saying don't do X, do this, doesn't matter what it is, because of XYZ, is promoting or using it to market their own competing offer. So it's really not some trustworthy testimonial that we need to be basing decisions off of, because it's their own marketing to get you to question everything, which they just did. And now you just fell into the rabbit hole, and now you're not taking action because you're hearing all these different messaging, but all it is different marketing. So you got to turn off the noise.
Yep. And that was like the biggest thing, is that like in the beginning I was very much like in my head, you know, so like I would see things that would counter kind of what I was doing, and I was like that doubt would just creep in, like, am I doing the right thing? And then like, so like the beginning of my journey, like when I created the account and I started making content and posting, I wasn't really seeing that much growth on my account. And I was repurposing. I was going from TikTok to Facebook and Instagram. I was doing the reels, and I was really struggling. And like part of me was like, but I thought it wasn't that hard. You know, like these people, some of these other content creators made it seem like it was so easy. And like I would get frustrated. And I can't tell you the amount of times I almost threw in the towel. Like I was like, oh, I maybe this just isn't for me. I can't do it, you know. And it was, so I started posting in October. I've been part of Legendary since 2022. So that was like end of summer, and then I think I started posting around that October. And like I said, it was very much up and down. I wasn't seeing any success with the account. And
so you came in, you're in this mindset of it's just going to be like easy peasy, lemon squeezy, all rainbows, unicorns.
I'm
going to learn this. I'm going to post a video, and the world is going to open up, and it's going to be phenomenal. And when that doesn't happen, this is when people go, oh, it's too hard, I'm quitting. And you shared that you've had that thought over and over and over and over. So how did you get out of it?
So I remember
how did you get past that?
So I posted for about 2 months. I wasn't seeing the success that I thought I would see. I wasn't seeing the growth that I thought I was going to see. And the holidays were coming, and I'm a stay-at-home mom, and I'm like exhausted, and I'm like, I just need a break. I think I need to like recenter. I'll figure it out after the holidays. And I stopped posting for December. And I remember I was talking with my fiance, and I was like, I don't know what to do. Maybe this just isn't for me. Maybe I should go back to like an office job. And I remember we called the daycare by us, and we got another quote, and it was higher than what it was a couple months before. And I was like, okay, that's not happening. So I was like, I remember after New Year's, I was like, something's got to give, something's got to change. And I was like, you know what? I was like, I'm going to start a new account. I said, I think the problem's my content. And I don't know why I kept saying the problem's my content. I was just like, maybe I'm not being genuine enough. Maybe I'm not being me. And I was like, maybe I'll keep the old account, and I'll just keep posting, and I'll change the content. And I did that for maybe about a month or so, maybe 2 months. And I was repurposing, and I actually got my first 2 commissions through Facebook, actually.
Okay.
Not through TikTok, through Facebook.
Okay.
And I remember getting that first email and I was like, oh my God, it does work. Like, okay, I'm on the right path. Like, it's working.
Right.
And I
Right.
remember I got those two emails and then it was like crickets. Like, my
Mm.
content just started to take a nosedive again. And I think it was around March of 2023. And I was like, all right, I got to pivot. I got to pivot again because whatever I'm doing isn't working. So if it's not
Mhm.
working, like, I got to come up with a new game plan. Right. Because
Right.
that happens in life too. Like, sometimes things just don't work and you got to come up with a new plan.
Mhm.
So I started a new account, which is the account that I still have now. And
Okay.
I completely changed up my content. So I went more towards. Looking back, I see what the problem was with my content. My content wasn't ideal for where I was at. So I
Mm.
was posting content, like monetizing content, as opposed to content to help grow my account.
Yep.
So
There's
like,
a difference.
yeah,
There's a
yeah,
difference.
it's such a
And
big difference.
we just and it's so hard to grasp. And I have these
Mhm.
conversations with people even on Decade in a Day, and they almost argue back with me. And I'm like, you can't sell to an empty room or
Yeah,
an empty following.
yeah,
You can't make a recommendation of something you love if
yeah,
nobody's there to recommend it to.
yeah,
And they're like, "But I need to have commissions. I need to have conversions." I'm all, "But no one's there." So you can't make content that's for that purpose
yeah,
only. Like the purpose is they got to go click my link. Like they're out. You haven't gained trust even with Instagram yet or
yeah,
TikTok or right? They need to know you're
yeah,
not a scammy account.
yeah, yeah.
So you got to be social
Mhm.
on social media
Yeah,
and make your social media friends, which means creating content that is focused on your ideal audience,
yeah. Mhm.
right?
Yep, definitely. So I went more into not necessarily educational, but it was like how a lot of accounts post the work from home content. It was these companies are what are hiring, and I was consistent. And that was, I think, also another big game changer. Um, so when I started the account in, I think it was like April, end of April of 23, I was like, I'm not gonna burn myself out because that was the other thing. I was getting burnt out. I was posting like 3 to 5 times a day on the old account. I wasn't seeing any growth. I was getting frustrated. And I was like, I'm gonna start the new account and I'm gonna post 1 to 2 times a day. But I'm gonna make sure that my content is of quality and not just like, oh, I have to post.
So
So
let's describe that because I think there's a lot of people that are in that phase where they're trying to make a switch. And when she says pivot, she's not saying like throw everything to a
yeah,
brand new offer and a brand new
yeah.
link and a brand new funnel. She's just saying change your focus on your content.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That
And
was
that's
the
really what has made the difference for everybody
mm-hmm.
to see
Yep.
growth. So give us those tips. What were the things you specifically started to change that you could help?
So, like, okay, so I remember when I had started that new account, there was a big name brand toy company where a lot of people were doing videos about how you can make like it was like 6K a month, by promoting their products. And I remember I did that video and it actually took off for me. But I'll never forget some of the comments. And it just did not sit right with like my belly barometer, where I was like, yeah, I guess it could be true, but in a way it wasn't really true because that 6K a month to get to was like almost unattainable for like the average person. So it was
Mhm,
almost like clickbait. And I remember
mhm.
that one piece of content that I did was like kind of pivotal in the rest of my content creation, where I was like, I don't want to do that because I feel like I'm not being honest. I feel like I'm not being
Mm,
completely truthful.
yeah,
So I was like, if I'm gonna be in like that work from home space, why don't I actually just put in a little bit of extra time and find those legit work from home jobs that are with these like not major companies, but companies that like people know about, you know?
Right.
So
Right.
I started doing some research about companies, and I would just go on to Google and I would spend an extra 15 to 20 minutes finding resources for people who want to work from home, different courses that people could take to maybe get a certificate to be able to work from home, or actual legit jobs with companies, not necessarily being an affiliate or promoting products, but actually like a 9 to 5 almost. And
Right. Right. And being
yeah,
transparent about that.
yes, yes.
Like
And
just being very upfront in your
yeah,
content about it. Like this is, hey, I haven't done this. I've done some
mhm,
research. Here's an option. Go check it out.
yeah,
It's an employed job. It's a nine
yeah,
to five job. Maybe it's the right fit for you. Check it out.
yep. And I think what made it even a little bit better was that I would just say what kind of position it was. I would
Mhm.
give the call to action, and then I would flip the camera around and show them how to actually find the position, what to Google, what site to go to, make sure it's a legit site, go through these steps, and then hit apply. And I think that was when my account, with the consistency, because I would post usually around 9:30 in the morning every single day. So it was every day at 9:30 I would put up a piece of content, and then I would interact with whoever commented through the day. And I'll never forget, we were at my son's, it was his like T-ball celebration. It was in June. And I remember we were at the park and it was like a pizza party, and all of a sudden like my phone just started going off like crazy. And I remember Ernie looking at me and he's like, "Are you okay? Is everything okay?" Because I'm like this on the phone. He's like, "What's the matter?" And I'm like, "My one video went like within like a couple of hours, it was over like six figures. Like it was like 200,000 or something like that." And it just kept growing. And I was like, "I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do." And he's like, I remember he was like, just breathe. Go do what you have to do. I got the kids. It's okay. And I was so excited, but like I was so nervous. Like I was like, what if I don't handle it properly? What if it like really screws up my account? But I remember just saying to myself, just take a breath
Let it
and
go.
just keep doing what you've been doing, because whatever I
Right.
was doing was working. So I started to really get a lot of engagement, and I went from like, oh God, like a couple hundred followers to over like 20K in a week. And then from there, it just kind of skyrocketed. So,
Right.
but I kept
So
doing
this is here's the difference, guys. Think about this. She's not putting out content that or saying, "Hey, I got 20,000 followers in a week," and making you feel like she started, got 20,000 followers,
Mhm.
and life's great.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's shared her content is now going into, and her story here is, gosh, it's been well over a year
Hmm.
to get to the week that things took off.
Yep.
Okay? So I want everyone to have full transparency, because that's really what she shared with us that her pivot was. If
Mhm.
and add in as we go for sure, but instead of feeling unaligned, clickbaity, feeling like she was, trying to pull the wool over people's eyes, she just wanted to meet them where her followers are at, which is just a couple steps behind her. They might be in the same position she was in. They can't afford daycare, but it's still tight at home. And they're searching randomly for how to figure this out and bring in a little more income. And how do they do it around kids? And how do I do this with the craziness of a 1-year-old or a 5-year-old or whatever it is? And the content is around that audience focus. And
Mhm.
then providing pieces of value. She put in more time to do research instead of just copying someone else's video. She found,
Yeah.
oh, I got, Apple has this remote job over here. Let me make a video about it and I'll be transparent. Here's a
Mm-hmm.
work from home opportunity. Check it out. It's not something I do, but I'll share with you what I do at the end.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it gives you an option, and it's a more transparent way that doesn't feel scummy. And you're not saying, hey, here's a work from home option that'll make you $6,000 tomorrow or get you 20,000 followers in a week. She's not doing that.
Yeah.
It's a very transparent way of sharing her journey and a realistic vision while still helping out her ideal audience. Did I get it? Did I sum it? What did I miss?
So like it that's really what it was. It was, and like the biggest thing with my biggest hurdle was becoming comfortable on camera, right? To actually do that content creation and like not feel like I'm like, like in the camera and then like, okay, I'm just going to post it and it'll be fine. It was the more uncomfortable I became, the more comfortable I became, because the more I did it, the kind I don't want to say the easier it became, but yeah, the easier it became. So like what turned into like, or what was 30 or 40 minutes to create a piece of content turned into like, now it takes me about 10 minutes. I can usually do it in 1 or 2 takes and then edit the video and put the text and everything and put the video out, so like I think that was the biggest thing in the beginning was I wasn't very kind to myself. Like I almost had these unrealistic expectations of like, well, everybody else is doing it and they make it look so easy. And why can't it be that easy for me? Meanwhile, like I had no experience with content creation or really social media. I really posted for family and friends, and that was like rare. It wasn't very often.
Right.
So like over time, it became more comfortable. It kind of became like, okay, I know what I'm doing here. I know how to edit the piece of content. I kind of know what other things I need to research. In the beginning, I felt like I was just kind of like thrown into the lion's den. It was so overwhelming. And, like I look back and I'm like, I wish I was just a little more kinder to myself, a little more patient, and stopped comparing myself to others, because
I
like,
mean, that's the biggest business killer.
yeah.
That's the biggest business killer is when you start whatever you want to call it. People start scrolling or they start telling themselves, I'm doing this for research. Dave's talked about it. I've talked about it. I'm like, your research is bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Out of things. You're literally feeding a negative voice.
Yeah.
That you're going to start comparing yourself, or you're going to start copying this person's, they got this many views, so I need to do that content. I'm going to copy it.
Yeah.
I'm going to copy this one. And now your voice is muddy. You sound like 5 different people in your content.
Yeah.
Because you just copied content without a real purpose of being you. Right. And I love that you went, okay, I'm going to meet my audience where they're at.
Yeah.
I'm going to get on camera and tackle that. And it's going to be beautiful and uncomfortable and amazing all at the same time.
Yeah. And I think that was the biggest thing was I was like, where was I at when I was first like starting? What was I looking for that like, and it wasn't even just like, I was like, well, I guess kind of what were my pain points, like what was I searching for? I didn't really know what I was searching for. I was just kind of searching through and hoping I would find something that clicked. And I was like, I think when I pivoted with the content and I changed and really just tried to be who I was and talk to myself when I was first starting, that I was able to kind of, I don't want to say I just kind of like let it go, like I turned it over, but I was like, it's going to be whatever it's going to be. You know, like I was so worried about like, I need to make a sale. I'm not making any money. Like, what am I even doing this for? Like, I felt like a couple months prior, I didn't see the light at the end of the tunnel. And I think when I restarted the new account, I was just like, it's going to be what it's going to be, you know, and I'm okay with that. So I was like, I'm just going to post my video and life is okay right now and we'll figure it out. And then it clicked, like the account started to take off. And I think it was when I stopped worrying so much about selling and making the money that I was like, it's just about growing the account and helping other women who are in the same place that I was, you know, like, because that's my target audience is the stay-at-home moms that are just looking for, you know, something extra to make from home, you know. And like you had said, maybe it's not something that I would do as far as the position, but maybe somebody else will, you know, maybe it can help somebody else.
It's part of your audience. And then they start to go, oh, I want to follow this person because maybe they'll share something that I want to try.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then she started sharing what she's doing in the mix, and she's making content that connects further to her audience as a stay-at-home mom. And it's just becomes a fun account to watch. And there's something you said, which is really the gold in all of this, that I want everyone also to realize. It's also presenting yourself as not the expert, but with enough confidence that, hey, I did the research. Here's this information, and you deliver it with confidence. Yeah. It's not saying you're a millionaire. It's saying, hey, I've been where you're at, and this is now where I'm at, a few steps ahead, and this would have helped me when I was looking for things.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just a small shift in how you present your content to make it more, I'm confident and I can help you.
Yeah.
And I've seen content where there's, hey, let's talk about this. I have a question for you. How do you do this? And that's great. You're looking for engagement, but I also want you to add, this is what I do to solve this.
Yeah.
Give them something to where they go, oh, I'm going to try that.
Yeah.
You know what you're talking about. I don't want you as their equal. I want you 2-3 steps ahead of them.
Yep, definitely. And that's the other thing. So like when I was telling you like how I looked at some of my beginning content and like the quick short form content, like you couldn't really tell I was too uncomfortable. But when I spoke, like when I did long form content, you could hear it in my voice. I was very uncomfortable. I was very like, I don't want to say, Ernie used to watch me like make the content, and he'd be like, you have your like customer service voice comes out, because I get nervous, and you can see when I get nervous, I start to get really red in the face. And he would be like, just take a breath. And I remember following some other creators that were like talking about how to make content and how to like be okay with it. And it was like deep breathing before you would press play. So like sometimes I'd be at the counter and I'd be like, okay, we can do this. And like I'd look over and I'd see him and I'd see the kids and he'd just smile and I'd be like, okay. And then like as time went on, I became more and more comfortable, and you could hear it. You could hear it in his voice, you know, you could see it in even the way I was speaking on camera, you know, like I had that confidence in my voice that I did not have in the beginning. And I think that made a big difference too, you know.
Absolutely. That confidence is a huge piece. It's a huge piece. And a lot of times people overlook it because they're like, oh, it's just confidence. That's silly. We don't even, I'm like, no, it's everything. It's literally everything. And I'm going to tell you right now, and I'm going to tell everybody, I've been hosting Wake Up Legendary for years randomly, a few times each week usually. Yeah. And to this day, before I go into StreamYard to start it, I'd sit there and I go, okay, I can do this. And I take a few deep breaths and go, all right, let's do it. Because it's just what you got to do to get through it, to start it, to just be like, okay, I can do this. It's going to be amazing. We're going to rock it. And I take some deep breaths, get a little centered, and I hop in.
And
I do it every time.
And that's really like what a lot of it is mindset, you know, like, so like I was talking to Roxy beforehand when we were like just getting started, and I was like, we're just hanging out, like it's okay, it's nothing like super serious. And I could hear it in my voice because my voice gets super high when I get nervous. And I was like, oh, and I'm like, I'm tired, you know, it's Monday morning. I'm like, that's the other, I'm 7 months pregnant. So like, I'm sitting down in the chair and I'm like, oh, I can't breathe, you know, like the belly.
You're like, can I do this interview? Like lounge back.
I'm like, I'm in the rocking chair. I'm like, oh, like, and it's a lot of it's mindset. Like, okay, you can do this. Just take a breath and like, it's gonna be what it's gonna be. And it's gonna be okay. Like the world isn't gonna come crashing down, you know, like, I'm just having a conversation. And I think that was the other piece with the content was I'm just talking to my ideal, my target audience, like one person. I'm just talking to one person in the camera. Like, because if I tell myself like, oh my God, there's going to be like 20,000 people that may see my video and I'm like stiff as a board and I'm uncomfortable. And, you know, I can very much get inside my head and I can talk myself into anything and I can also talk myself out of anything.
We all can.
Yeah.
And we all talk ourselves out of things every freaking day.
Yep.
We can watch every single video. I could go back and watch every Wake Up Legendary and go, oh, we got to delete that. My hair isn't right. I got something crazy. The lighting's weird. I don't like this. I don't like that. We can talk ourselves out of posting every single piece of content that we create.
Yep. And so it's funny you say that because I'm very much a perfectionist. Like, so my job before I became a stay-at-home mom, like I was compliance and quality. So like I was the person, I wasn't very well liked when I went to administration because I was the
you were not.
I was the person that would come in for like a surprise visit and I did like OSHA checks and you know, it was like, oh, ABCD is wrong. You need to fix it and you need to fix it within the next week. Like I would walk in and people would be like, I would see it like, oh God, she's here, you know, like, and that kind of like came into like my personal life where I became not like a super perfectionist, but like there were a lot of things where I was like, it's got to be done a certain way. And that had to do with the position I had for work. And I remember when I left, it was like trying to undo all of that I had learned while I was there. And like understanding that like, it's okay to not be perfect. It's okay to not be okay. It's okay for things to be not exactly by the book as far as what you think content should be. And like, I used to rip myself apart. Like I was my own, and even still I could be my own worst critic, but like, I think that's what took me so long in doing content was I was like, nope, I stumbled on that word. Nope, I got to redo it. So like what would be 2 takes or 3 takes was like 10 or 15. And it was taking me like an hour and it wasn't really like ideal, you know? And the more I did it, the more I was like, it's okay. It shows who I am. It shows my, you know, when I mess up on my words, it shows my quirkiness, you know, like it's okay. It's okay for me to come through in my content. And that's how it's supposed to be. Because I'm not supposed to be anybody else. I'm supposed to be me. And it's okay to be imperfect because nobody's perfect. If you're perfect, I would love to meet you because I want to see how it's possible.
But you probably don't want to meet them because you're like, I don't want to be their friend. They think they're like perfect. Right? In real life, think about it, guys. In real life, the friendships we make, there's something that's relatable, something
Yeah.
that's imperfectly perfect about this other person that you want to be their BFF and vice versa.
Yep.
And that's really what we're doing online is we're looking for our online friends. How
Yeah.
do we make online friends? And you trying to be somebody you're not isn't going to get you any friends, just like in real life.
Yeah. Yep.
So it's actually a really good thing to be authentic, to be real, to show your personality. It's okay if some people are like, I don't want to follow that person. They're not my type. Great. But you're going to have someone else is like, oh my gosh, I love this girl. Can't wait to watch her next video because
Yeah.
I want to be her virtual friend.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, so like when my account started to take off last summer, that was like sometime in June. And I unexpectedly lost my dad a couple of weeks later. And I remember I was like, I don't have time. I remember talking to Ernie. I was like, I don't have time to post content. Like, I don't right now. Like, we were going through making arrangements and,
It's a lot.
Yeah, it was a lot.
It's a lot. Yeah.
And I remember it was because my dad, he passed on July 3rd. So, like, late at night. And it was 4th of July. And I was on my way to my sister's. And Ernie was like, just post about what's going on. Like, you don't have to do the work from home stuff right now. Just put some of you in it. And I felt so vulnerable. And I remember making that video and I pulled over on the side of the road. I'm like ugly crying. And I remember all I could get out was saying, just hug your family members a little tighter today because tomorrow's never promised. And like, I got so much love and support from, because a lot of my followers are women. They are my target audience. And to just see like women uplifting other women. And that's when I was like, okay, so it's okay to be me in my content. It's okay to like post some of that personal stuff too. Like, it doesn't have to be just all business, like, and the other thing was like, if nobody likes it or nobody comments, like, that's okay too. Maybe it's just not their cup of tea. And like, I had to be okay with that, and not let that be like the straw that breaks the camel's back kind of thing, where I'm like, oh, that's it. I'm throwing in the towel. It was really just, I'm along for the ride, the ups, the downs, and everything in between, and there were more ups and downs. So like, even though like the account was growing, I don't know, can I talk about TikTok shop? Is that okay?
Sure.
That's okay.
Yes. So, what you're doing, it's your business. It's all good. It's all good.
I was like, I don't know.
We don't limit anyone's experience here. Your story is your story, and we want to hear it.
Yeah. So okay. So the account grew so quickly. By the end of the summer, I think I was up to like 90K. So like, I really like started to skyrocket over the summer, and I was really promoting Legendary and just kind of just. I feel like the account became more, how can I help? Right. So like followers or people who see my videos would message me and say, hey, can you find, what about something within, this genre, or, I'm looking for something in tech. And like, I would utilize that. And that became like, okay, those are my ideas. Like, I didn't have to start like pulling from the sky to like, oh, what am I going to post next? So like coming up with a content calendar, that helped because it was very overwhelming. Like, okay, what am I going to post tomorrow? Oh, what am I going to post for the rest of the week? So like, I would do like a reply to a comment as one video, and then, maybe a resource that people could use for work from home, as far as like companies that are hiring or like top positions, remote positions for the year. So like things like that also helped, was like coming up with a game plan for content. Cause otherwise I was all over the place.
You wanted to focus.
Yes.
Which is good. That's where I think we all need to sit down. That's the hard part, we'll say. But it's not hard. It's like, just start somewhere.
Yeah.
Start with a focus because
Yeah.
you can always adjust it.
Yes, absolutely. You can. And you
Mhm,
pivot. That's all it is. You pivot.
mhm,
You find
mhm.
something, if it's not working, you find something else that works or try something else.
Yeah,
Like and that was my story. Like it didn't work out at first, but either I was going to throw in the towel or I was going to pivot in my business plan. Like you were saying, I'm not throwing in the towel for everything and wiping the slate clean. I'm just
right.
pivoting, along the plan to try and, okay, the left hand didn't work. Let's try the right, let's see what's down that path. And so by the end of the summer, I had gotten into the creator rewards program with TikTok. So
Mhm.
that was another way for me to monetize content and my
Yep.
account, which was great. It was pretty awesome. I remember I was so excited. It was another accomplishment, and
Mhm,
by right before the holidays, I had gotten into the TikTok shop affiliate program, and I was like,
mhm.
this is so easy. Like, and I remember it was my ego started to kind of like get the best of me. Like
That
that
ego
mentality.
is that ego's a
Oh,
bitch.
I was like, when I said to myself, I got this, I knew I was in trouble. And
Mhm.
I remember I was in the affiliate program for like, I don't know, a couple of weeks. And in one of my videos, I was promoting a product and I said a trademarked phrase. And
Oh.
I didn't even know it at the time. Like I had no idea that it was copyrighted or whatever.
Mhm.
And I remember I did a couple of videos on that one product. So I got multiple violations. Like, and they came in one right after the other. And I
Oh.
was like, I remember seeing the message come through and it was right before the holidays. Like it was like 2 weeks before Christmas. And they were like, your account's suspended for 90 days. And I was like, I just cried. And it was like, I remember I was like, I put in all this work and I'm like ugly crying. I'm like, and it's all down the drain. And what are we gonna do? And I was like, it was all for nothing, like that, like emotional, like overwhelming, like I'm just gonna throw in the towel, like it's not working. I don't know what I'm doing, and
Right, right.
saying
That
all
that
these things.
that
Yeah,
self-talk, that
yeah,
confidence,
yeah,
the lack of training on the right self-talk,
yeah.
it all comes back to that, baby.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. It was like, and it's so crazy to see it looking back. Like my ego was like up here, and then like that happened, and it was like I was right down in the cave, like drowning in my sorrows, and so I'm still banned on this account for a TikTok shop because I got so many violations over those couple of videos that not only
Mhm.
did they hold my commissions that I made, but I'm permanently restricted from promoting products for TikTok shop. And it's something that like, and I started a new account to more promote just like
Mhm.
everything I learned about TikTok shop along the way that has nothing to do with this account. And it's
Right,
more
right.
like teaching, like, don't do what I did, so like talking about like trademark infringement and copyrights and brands and like stuff like that. Like you
Mhm.
don't even realize like you can have something on your shirt and
Yeah.
like it's like that's a big no, and
Mhm.
it goes to like when you're promoting anything, when you're promoting a product or a program or whatever, you don't want to don't compare it to anything else.
Right.
Don't compare it to another product or program. Don't have anything in your background. Don't have any
Right.
music in the background. Like these are all things that like I learned along the way. And it's important to know that like for me, like this is my own experience and like it is very much up and down
Mhm.
and like constantly trying to pivot and see what works and is this working for me right now or how can I do better or
Mhm.
how can I help in a different way because like things aren't the same as they were a year ago you know?
Right.
So like,
And that's really that's what's the cool part about business,
yeah.
guys. Honestly,
Yeah.
that's what I love about it,
Yeah.
because you're in your 9 to 5, you're like, go every day, go check your check boxes. This is what you're gonna
Mhm.
do. You're
Yep.
gonna hope for in 10 years you get a 2% raise, and they're gonna give you
Yeah.
like a company pen because you worked there for 30 years.
Pizza party.
Seriously. Like there was somebody that
Yeah.
just retired worked at 7-Eleven for 30 or 40 years, and he retired at age 70, and they sent him an email and said, "Thank you for your time." Like,
That's
great.
heartbreaking. Yeah.
Awesome, But that's part of the corporate life.
Yeah.
But as you grow your own business, you're going to unlock new levels of challenges.
Yeah.
You are now at digital marketer entrepreneur level 20,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
Super Mario Brothers. You
Yeah.
get further in the game, there's new challenges to
Yeah.
unlock, but they're so freaking fun to go after.
Yeah.
It's the
They
new
are.
challenge.
Yeah.
Right? And that's what's cool, because it's all your own and you're figuring it out,
Mhm.
just like a video game.
Yeah.
It's just a new level of your business. You're never going to
Yeah.
be stuck at level 1.
Yeah.
You're going to unlock new levels, new wins, new challenges.
Yeah.
And that's what's cool, and it's all yours. So
Yeah.
go out and keep going. You just start that level over. All right. I
Yeah.
got to figure out this level.
Yeah. Listen, it's just like kids, right? So like
Yep.
as you go through the ages, like the problems change. The problems get bigger, like, and you just have to
Mhm.
adapt and pivot. And it's the same thing with anything in life, like with the corporate kind of like it's complacency. Like, it's like I'm just okay with where things are right now. And, with it just being like knowing what to expect every single day. I don't know what to expect every single day. And, like I want to challenge myself. And it's important to me because I that like hamster wheel of the 9 to 5, like I look back and it was too much. I didn't
Mhm.
get to spend enough time with my kids. Well, at the time I only had my oldest, but it was like get out of work at 5, get to the daycare by 5:30, pick him up. It was an hour drive home, so it's like, and then it's like dinner, bath, bed. Like I had to spend like 2 hours with him, and I saw it with my dad. My dad worked his whole life. He worked to the bone. He was a truck driver, blue collar guy. And when
Mhm.
he passed, like nothing. There was no 401k. There was no
Mhm.
savings. There was
Mhm.
no contact from his previous employers, that he was with for a long time. And it's like, I don't want that. I want something that
Yeah.
I can call my own, and something that like I can also teach my kids, like you can do
Mhm.
anything,
Yep.
even if you think that like it's too hard or it's not you, like give it a shot. Just try. Just at least try. You only fail if you quit,
Right.
So, and that was like, I think that was one of the sayings that kind of stuck in my head too, was like, I'm only going to fail if I quit, and I'm not ready. I'm not ready to throw in the towel. I'm going to keep trying,
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what's key. That's what's key. And we're going to leave it on that, because
Yeah.
that's really what I hope everyone grabs from this. I mean, this interview has been amazing. Holy
Oh,
crap. For anyone that's newer, that's in the valley of despair, is on a little bit of the struggle bus, that is like, oh, can I do this? Really, you answered it. You
you can.
answered it, and you gave them detail of how. Yes, you can do this.
Mm-hmm.
Here's how.
Yeah.
And I love it. And thank you. Thank you so much for all of the shares you had today.
Oh.
You have to come back. I want updates. I love it. I love
Thank
it. I love it.
Thank you so much for having me today. I'm very much honored. I remember when I first started and I would see these and I'd be like, one day I'll be on there. And I remember seeing the email and it was like, this is not like a subscription email. And I was like, I wonder what that is. And when I opened it, I like did like the happy dance,
Mhm.
and that was a big thing was that like it didn't happen overnight, and I'm okay with that, you know,
Right.
because I've learned so much along the way. And for
Mhm.
anybody who's, you know, in that doubt of like, maybe this isn't for me, or I'm not growing as some of these other creators, like, because you see some of these creators create these new accounts and they skyrocket, you know, and it's like, that's not happening to me. What am I doing wrong? It's
Mhm.
okay to have a slow climb, you
Mhm.
know, or a slow journey. And that's what I had. And I'm okay with
Mhm.
it. You know, I'm happy, and it wasn't overwhelming, you know, once I got the
Yeah.
hang of things. And you guys are
Mhm.
great. Like, I remember
Mhm.
calling in a couple of times, and you guys helped me with like some of the IT stuff, because
Mhm.
I had no idea what I was doing. Even still, I get some like
We
little
got you.
hiccups.
We got
Yeah.
you.
You
We
guys are
got you.
great.
And you got support 101 and hot
Yeah.
seat and the community. We got you. You just got
Yeah.
we're always here to help. We just got to know what the question is.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah, I love it. Oh, this has been amazing. Thank you, Ashley. And you have to come back in the next like couple months for sure. I want to
Absolutely. Thank you so much,
update.
Jillian.
My pleasure. All right, guys, please go give Ashley a follow on TikTok at ashley.suggests. Go follow her account, check out her stuff, check out her journey. What a freaking episode. Go in, save this, go to Spotify, save it, listen in your car ride when you're getting ready in the morning. This one episode is something to re-listen to, rewatch. Um, and it's going to help keep you going, give you ideas, keep you motivated, remind you got to build that confidence. That is really the bottom key to everything, honestly, is building confidence and building it in yourself, giving yourself grace through this process as well. And that you can do this. Can you do this? Yes, you can do this. You just got to give yourself time, love, energy, and allow yourself to grow as you're doing it. And the time to do that, the time to grow through it. So awesome episode. Thanks again, Ashley. And a few housekeeping items. If you are looking for an accountability call, you just want to, how do I get started again? Maybe you stopped. Maybe you're in that cycle of start, stop. Maybe every day you're thinking, maybe today I should quit. Maybe it's time to get off of that train. And you want to talk to someone that can just understands what's going on. All you need to do is email the word accountability to dave@legendarymarketer.com, and he'll put you in touch with one of our mentors for a free 30-minute call. Where you can just sit down with somebody and have a conversation about what's going on in your business, what are the roadblocks, give you some tools, some tips to move forward with. So check it out. Email accountability to dave@legendarymarketer.com. And then, of course, if you would like to check out any of our education that we offer here, our $5 5-day Learn Launch Lead Challenge, it's all here, legendarymarketer.com/enroll. Go enroll, hop on in there, check it out. It's absolutely loaded. It's not like 5-minute videos. it's a ton of information for you to really see what the heck is this online space. And you get assigned an advisor as you go through the 5-day challenge, to ask questions to, connect with, all of that good stuff. Check it out. Head over to legendarymarketer.com/enroll. What a great Monday. What a great episode. Ashley, you are phenomenal. You definitely have to come back. Um, and as always, everyone, stay legendary. Peace.